The Manchester United strikers are not having a great season so far. Rasmus Højlund has just 7 goals in 31 matches, while Xerxes only has 5 in 36. Now, of course, we need to remember that a lot of these have come as substitutes, but regardless, it's not exactly good enough, and we do have a problem. And it's got people asking the question, how about Chido Obi? How good is he? What is he good at? And is he ready to start matches for Manchester United? All games that we will be answering in today's video. Before we get into that, if you could please leave a like, but also subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. And then we'll get into this. So if we start off by looking at the stats, like we've just done with the other two strikers, Chido Obi looks much more impressive. He's played 12 games this season and scored 12 goals and got 2 assists. That's a very impressive goal contribution return. However, we do need to consider the fact that most of his minutes so far have come in under 18s football, where to tell the truth, he is actually just too good. He is too good for that level of football. He is better than everyone else around him, including the opposition players. However, this has allowed him to show off quite a complete profile. We know in terms of his physical stature, the guy is absolutely huge for his age. Tall, strong, athletic, quick, all the things that you would want. And he has been showcasing that. He offers a threat in behind, he comes to feet, he spins out wide, but how does he actually do those different things? Well, I would say one of his biggest threats is really when he plays on the shoulder of the last defender. So let's say his teammate has the ball in a deeper position and he's going to play on the shoulder in this position, sort of just waiting for that moment to strike in behind. He particularly likes it if he can see the back of the defender because that means he can get on the blind side. So as that ball goes in behind, he can get the head start, have the advantage, and most of the time, if he's got a head start, you're not going to catch him, particularly because he's quite big and strong. Even if you do track back, he'll sort of just hold you off long enough to allow him to get off the snapshot at goal. And this is something that we've seen very, very recently, the other night in the FA Youth Cup against Chelsea. You can see Chido Obi here, you can see Chelsea playing an incredibly high back line, and Manchester United with time on the ball. Now, the first thing we should point out is that defensively, this is a disaster from Chelsea. It's really bad. But Chido Obi deserves credit for making the most of it. He gets that left arm out, and here I think he's doing two things. First of all, he is putting his arm out to call for the ball and show where he wants to pass. You know, I want to go that way. But also, he's using his arm to get across the defender. He also has a moment of eye contact with the player on the ball as well to sort of signal that he wants to pass. The pass comes over, and like I said, once he gets into this position, he's too quick plus strong. It's a combination which makes him really difficult to stop, and eventually he gets the shot off at goal. Again, in a moment like this. Now, again, we do need context. Chido Obi is here, the Chelsea backline is high, and there is no pressure on the ball. But again, our young man up front does deserve credit. This is what I'm talking about. That non-verbal communication with teammates. Just having that look, that little bit of eye contact which goes, you know, I want to spin him behind into that channel. And on this occasion, he is perfectly between the two defenders. So he can see the centre-back. He's fine. Chido Obi knows what he's doing. He's got a brilliant bit of space to attack in behind. The ball over the top is good. He's going to spin in behind the defence. And again, he actually scores here. Now, the question mark I would have is the level of defending. You know, it's really poor from Chelsea. But Chido Obi, you can only play against what you're playing against, and he done well against those opposition. I think the other thing what he does quite nicely though in terms of his movement in behind is that he is willing to go in different directions as well. He isn't someone who just wants to run straight or even curve his run between two centre backs. He is also willing to operate in the channels as well. So that could be perhaps when a fullback is pulled out a little bit further up here, spinning into that left channel, or doing something similar in the right channel as well. And I think that's important. Some strikers have this trait where if they can run in behind, if they can be direct at goal, they're a threat. But the second you force them to do something else, they don't offer so much. I don't think Chido Obi has that problem. Certainly not at this moment in time. Certainly not at this level anyway. You can see in moments like this, if the path to goal isn't direct, because the defender has managed to track back and put him under pressure here, he's not afraid of going round. Now, this is where I also have a bit of a criticism, because this is almost a problem. His physicality is so good. He is so much more powerful than everyone else around him that often he relies on strength and power as opposed to technique in duels. Now, at this level of football, you get away with it because he is bigger, stronger, quicker than everyone around him. Put him into the Premier League, though, where defenders are bigger, stronger, but also more intelligent, you do need to see more technique. So this is one concern I have about him. In these moments, that left arm should be rigid across the opposition defender, not letting him even get close. On this occasion, he gets away with it though, because he is just better than the player he's against. He's able to get round him and actually picks out a really nice pass. So I still think he needs work here in terms of his technique, but I do like the willingness, the mindset here. If he can't go through, he is willing to go round in a position like this, standing up the defender, getting that ball between his 2 feet, and basically putting a defender on the back foot, going, which way am I going to go? You don't know. He's kind of playing games with him, and then he's got that quick burst, that quick acceleration, just to create a half a yard of space. This is important, just half a yard of space, to then get that ball into the box. Again, it's a really good ball, and United find themselves in a good position. Now, having that striker that can run into the channels is all well and good. We love a player that can stretch the opposition defence. But in terms of if we're talking about solving problems at Manchester United, I'd have one question here. How often do we actually put the ball into the channel for the striker? The answer is not very often at all. So realistically, if Chido Obi was to really offer us something in the first team, he's going to have to do a lot of his work coming towards the ball more regularly, being almost a bit of a backboard. So that could be long from the goalkeeper, Onana over the top to Chido Obi to hold up, or it might be when you're trying to go up into these positions, you need a good solid first touch to protect the ball and then bring someone else into the game. The question is, can the young Dane do it? I think he can, but I think he needs a lot of work in this area. And this is where I do have question marks, and I would label him as a slightly raw player. When you are a big player, you are expected to completely dominate these situations. On this occasion, he doesn't do too badly. He feels the contact from the defender. He holds him off fairly comfortably. He uses his upper body. The challenge from the defender is weak. It's poor. But Chido Obi does enough. He holds him off. I think here again, he should be more rigid with his arm, really getting across the opposition defender. But ultimately, he does well. He holds the ball up, he keeps possession, and moves the ball into space, and his teammate from here could move the ball forward. So the technique needs work, but he is still getting the job done. The question is more a little bit on one like this. When the ball's coming along from the back, I think Chido Obi's first touch is really good, except when there is literally direct physical contact on the first touch. So when you've got that moment where you are wrestling a centre-back, but also trying to control the ball at the same time, it's a side of the game that Rasmus Højlund really struggles with, right? So when your first touch here is under contact, it's tough. And in a moment like this, we can see that his first touch actually ends up miles away, absolutely miles away from where he first was. And realistically, in the Premier League, he wouldn't get the time to get on his own first touch there, not travelling that many yards. So that is something that I am a little bit worried about. I think if he was to come into the Manchester United team and play as a target man, I think he would struggle. If we're going long over the top, I think he would struggle up against, the Van Dijks of the world, the Gabriels, but also some of the lesser centre-backs in the league as well. I do think he would find it a little bit difficult. However, where he could potentially be strong is actually if you allow him to drop off even further. So not just being a backboard and target man, but actually being a linking striker, dropping right behind the midfield into this position here, where the centre-backs are worried about following you because you've got running threats in behind. These moments where he gets a little bit more space, I actually think he looks really nice. So I think this is the key here. First touch under no pressure, quality. First touch under pressure, a little bit of a concern. But if you can get him into situations like this one here, where he's receiving the ball with time and space, he's actually really good at manipulating the opposition. He'll sort of wait for the defender to come towards him, and then just as the defender gets there, that's when he'll make his move to release the ball to someone else, or actually to take them on himself, like in this sort of moment here. So again, he's picked the ball up really deep. His first touch is so clean here because he's got time, because there's not a defender right on him. And again, he sort of invites the defender towards him. Just as the defender gets there and is flat-footed, he's going to quickly change direction. That's when he then goes past him. I think when he does this work, he's really good. And then he's got that strong, powerful stride, which we've spoken about, the athleticism, great at carrying the ball forward through the middle. I love this side of his game. We've got another example, literally in the same game. Again, sort of in that similar area between the defence and the midfield, picking the ball up in these positions, drawing defenders towards him, and then going past him. I think this is work that he does really, really well. He gets into great areas, but also there is a general link play about him as well. Here he receives the ball from really deep. The defender doesn't get close. He sort of spins in without even touching him. This sort of work is where I really like Chido Obi. And it's a side of his game that I wasn't so aware of when he was playing for Arsenal. I think at United, he has shown signs of real development here. If you go watch some footage of him, there are lots of moments where he's picking the ball up here, spinning, facing the play, and then sliding that pass through the defence. This is something that could genuinely be a weapon for United, particularly if you've got the likes of Garnacho running around him, or Ahmad playing as an inside forward, getting into these positions. I think suddenly you get a lot of threat. So, the question that we asked right at the start, who is Chido Obi? He's a brilliant young Danish striker playing for United. How good is he? He's good. What is he good at? He's good at running into the channels. He's good at running in behind the defence, getting early shots off at goal. He's good at linking play and bringing teammates into the game. But he does really struggle with the physical contact. So is he ready? Is he the solution for Manchester United up front right now? I don't think so personally. I think what I would do is what United have been doing in recent weeks. Ethan Wheatley has left the club on loan. Chido Obi has had more of a chance, not in the under-18s, but now in the under-21s. Personally, I would leave him there for the rest of the season, reassess the situation in summer. Perhaps he needs another year in the under-21s, or he might need a loan move out somewhere where he can be a starter for a senior team. But I certainly think right now it's just a little bit too early. Realistically, when you're bringing young players into the team, you want a stable environment, and Manchester United are anything but that. We have seen the confidence of our strikers really drain from them playing in the United team. Do we really want that for such a young player? Do we want him to come in and not get many touches, not really get a sniff at goal, play as an out-and-out target man when it's not really what he wants to do? I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So is this young man very good? Yes. Have we got ourselves a talent? Yes, he has areas where he needs to develop, but he's wonderful already to watch. But it's too early for me. Just a little bit too early. A couple of seasons, we'll reassess the situation. But those are just my thoughts, my opinions on the matter. I would be waiting, but I want to hear what you would do in the comments down below. Would you bring him into the Manchester United team? Is he better than Højlund and Xerxes, who, to be fair, aren't offering us much at the moment anyway, so maybe it's worth a change? Let me know what you think in the comments, but apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.